Alex, you can come back if you want, you know. It's all here for you. Right, it's your Geordie Journos here at St James's Park. Seagulls in the air. Bit of rain in the air, actually, isn't there?
Yeah, it is. It's a dark night. It's on Tyneside.
It is.
Is it reflective of the mood, though?
Aye, interesting. I think, obviously, we've seen a lot of developments from, we've seen a lot of Craig Hove stuff coming over. We've had a few conversations, spoke to a few people, etc.
Yeah.
Got a sense of what the mood is. The Alexander Isak situation is constantly changing and evolving. And that's what we've jumped on here today to talk about. So it'll probably be one of the shorter videos from us, just to discuss the why and wherefores and where we think it's at and what we think could progress. There is still remaining a lot of unknowns, but there has been something concrete today, hasn't there, Jordan?
Yeah, in the space before our period, it's sort of messages have all changed. So about 1 o'clock this afternoon, breaking news, Liverpool had seen a £110 million bid rejected. Some reports of 120 million. Liverpool fans in my DMs telling us that it's a British record offer, but that's not the offer we understand that
it's
Liverpool
not.
have submitted. It is below. That was the informal, when Liverpool done the informal approach, that was the fee that was meeting 120 million. But Liverpool today, when submitting that bid, did not reach that figure. 110 million, we understand, was the value that was rejected by Newcastle United. Talk of a second bid being lined up, and then a couple hours later, suggestions that Liverpool don't want to do in the second bid and are walking away because Newcastle United's stance was so strong they don't see how they can do a deal.
I would treat that, we both spoke about this, yes. Our thoughts on this is treat that with trepidation.
Yes, which will come in.
We think this is far from over.
Yeah.
That's kind of our consensus, isn't it?
100%.
I don't believe Liverpool engineer, and that's what they've done. They've engineered this situation whereby the player has been pushed to a point where he's so unhappy that he effectively goes on strike from work, not turning up to work. First of all, obviously we report the injury thing. That has been the club line all the way through, and we'll come on to where that could become crucial much further on in this, about maybe opening doors, and as we joked about, I joked about at the start. It's all here for you, mate. You can still come back. No, but so realistically, I'd be very surprised if Liverpool, having done this amount of groundwork, would then walk away from a deal.
Yeah.
They've really unsettled what we see as the world's best striker, and then for the sake of a few tens of million, when they can spend it, by the way, you just have to listen to experts like Kieran Maguire, who we've had on the Geordie Journos, who knows his onions, says they could spend 500 million this summer and not even worry about it. So don't think Liverpool couldn't pay what Newcastle United want. They could, and they're deciding that they're not, or so they're briefing at the moment, that they're not going to do it. I'm just not sure. They've done this before. They walked away from Alisson, who's he play for. They've walked away from, I think there's a couple of others they've done. Who was the last one? You can't remember. Liverpool have done this a few times.
Yeah,
where they walk away from players and then come back in and say, right, yeah, we are.
Well, you know why they've done it? They've put the onus on the player.
Of course they have.
What's happened? So shall we come on that now? Or?
Yeah, go.
So Newcastle United fly back from Asia on Sunday, land back on Tyneside on Monday.
Yeah.
And imagine 48 hours, 72 hours, or 48 hours actually after Monday they'll be training.
At some point, we don't know whether
we don't know the exact date when they're going to train, but it'll be early next week.
They could train Monday night. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'd be surprised after a long flight.
It could be Tuesday.
Yeah.
It could be a bit of a, with them playing on the Friday and Saturday. It could be split sessions. 2 sets of players could be training in different manners and different way all the way through the week. But yeah, it's going to be a key 48 hours after that.
The focus goes back to next week. Alexander Isak, of course, as we know, has been training at Real Sociedad, his former club. When Newcastle United get back from their pre-season tour, report to the club's training ground, will Alexander Isak be there? And that's the big question for me, because Liverpool, for me, have put the ball in Alexander Isak's court, and Alexander Isak now, they're almost saying, look, we've tried, Newcastle stands really hard, it's on you now to try and force this move in. One way you could try and force the movers by not turning up to training next week.
So I think that's the key. I've said this out on Twitter X a few times today. That's where I think the ball lies now. It's all with Alexander Isak. Yeah. And I know the argument is, I know, but he's Newcastle United's player, etc. They can make he can personally make Newcastle United's stance on no sale or their price tag very weak by not turning up next week when he should be reporting to training. Craig Hope, of course, in his quality report, literally from there, it's God knows what o'clock in the morning where he's filing all of this stuff. But he said that Newcastle United see no reason why Alexander Isak should not turn up next week. That's very different to Alexander Isak definitely turning up next week, and that's key. That's where it is, because if he doesn't turn up next week and refuses to continue in Newcastle United and has a really strong stance on it, then Newcastle United are going to have a real problem. It's going to take all of their persuasive skills to try and get that lad back on board here.
Yeah.
I think this has got a lot longer to run than a lot of people maybe sort of thinking tonight. Oh, Liverpool's not going to come back. I'd be surprised if they didn't come back, and I'd be surprised if this was the end with Isak. Look, the best possible scenario, if you're Eddie Howe, is all the players due to be in X time on Tuesday. There he is, straight back from Spain. But why did he go to Spain in the first place?
I think everything throughout the situation at the start, I didn't want to believe it at the start, but didn't travel to Celtic.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe owned that in the end, said, "Oh, speculation, whatever." But it was didn't travel to Celtic. It was then obviously didn't travel to Asia. So everything that everything that Alexander Isak has chosen to do.
The club have covered for him, haven't they?
Yes, exactly.
So the club have basically paved a way, and this is what I was hinting at before, and that's what it comes across from the inside information that Craig Hope's reporting. It comes across that the football club are laying down a little carpet there, and they're just leaving that crack in the door, just a little bit of light coming through, saying, "Alex, son, if you really want to come back, just turn up on Tuesday and it's all yours again." And I'm sure he'd get a new contract, and I'm sure he'd get treat like he was before, and there'd be arms around the shoulder, and there'd be a PR campaign to get everybody back on side, and time's a good healer. It would take a little bit of time, people would be angry. I think he's been a disgrace in the manner which him and his agent have treated this football club, and people might say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite, you don't say that about other players or whatever." You know what, at the end of the day, football, the partisan nature of it is, I only really care what happens to this football club. I didn't care about Liverpool, I didn't care about Brentford, I didn't care about Chelsea, I didn't care about anybody. And the people who are saying you're a hypocrite, even you fans out there will be getting it on socials, you're the same. You know what I mean? Like, you only care about Newcastle United. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. If Isak continues to go on strike and signs here and he's got a shirt, nobody's going to be going, "Oh, well, you know, he didn't do it right, did he?" But nah, you're not going to be. You might say that to save face, but really in your heart you're going to be going, "Get him, we've got the player we wanted." And that's Liverpool as well, and there's nothing wrong with admitting this. That's all right.
Yeah, again, we'll go back to certain people in the media, and one thing that's really irked me this week is, Liverpool are so respectful about this situation.
Yeah.
Well, other though, really?
No.
Were they respectful in the fact that they made an informal approach?
No.
Were they respectful of the fact that they lowballed Newcastle United with an offer today?
Remarkably, no.
Let's say Liverpool fans to me, it's not a low ball, it was a British record offer. No, Newcastle United have demanded, we think 150 million, possibly more. It's a low ball offer when you've got asking price of 150 million plus.
Yeah.
Liverpool have not been respectful in this situation whatsoever.
And you know what, at the end of the day, they value the player at a certain level, but they've gone through this process to get the player cheaper. It's been the dark arts. They might all be pals, and Richard Hughes and Eddie Howe get on really well, and there's connections. There was a moment in time where Richard Hughes might well have been here.
Yeah.
There was a lot of links and there was a lot of traction to it as well. There could have been a chance it would have happened. I know Edwards has been linked with being here as well. Anyway, I don't think that matters in business. They're friends and they'll be respectful to each other. But Liverpool want to get the best players at the cheapest possible price. Newcastle United want to do exactly the same thing. This is business. All this old pals are, we won't bid unless we're being given. You just did. All that rubbish that I've seen in the last few days, which we talked about and said, that's rubbish, that. If you want a footballer, it ain't going to be just because you know the bloke from years back, you're not going to do it, you're going to do it anyway.
Liverpool will only bid if Newcastle United essentially say so. Well, that didn't happen today, did it?
No, it didn't, and that's been disproven. So any thoughts coming from the same kind of places where they won't come back again?
That's, I mean,
just treat that with a little bit of...
Exactly, you don't understand Liverpool's motives, the fact that they've literally unsettled the player. Whatever anyone says, they've engineered it from the start. So they went through all this process. Yeah, I don't understand Liverpool's motive, because he wouldn't go for all of this. Not for it to end here. It doesn't end like this, does it?
I don't think so.
No.
It might. And how silly would that make everybody look? Not us. We've just been reporting what we know. How silly would that make Alexander Isak look and his agent look?
I do wonder how he's feeling right now.
I think he wants to be away.
He does. But I just wonder, obviously everything that's been played out today with the low ball offer, and Liverpool now briefing people that they're not going to make another bid. or does Alexander Isak think? I think he'll be privy to more information than us. Liverpool, I've got no doubt about, will have more. Are playing a game. It's more tactics. I don't think it ends here.
There's still time, Jordan.
There is time.
It's not like we're talking we're 1 or 2 weeks out or 4 weeks out.
And I do wonder if Newcastle United's hard stance changes if they can go get if they get a glimmer of light and go get somewhere else. I think that's also important in all of this, where they've got such a hard stance at this moment in time, because as we understand, the Benjamin Sesko deal probably going to go to Manchester United. So if they can't get in, they're looking around links to Ollie Watkins. But unless they get absolute encouragement, they can go out and sign another striker, I say capable of replacing Alexander Isak. Maybe there's no striker in world football capable of replacing Alexander, but a high profile striker, then I think Newcastle's stance alters in that sense if they know they can go and get someone.
Or again, 2 strikers to bring up the average.
Yes.
That's what I would say. There might be a little bit of that if they can do it. I think the evidence is there that they're really trying to do that, which shows you it possibly isn't a no sale at any price stance.
Because I think
they probably would at a certain price.
It might be brushed up differently, but say Alexander Isak can't go to Liverpool this summer, stays at Newcastle, signs a new contract. What conversation are having 12 months to? Newcastle don't want to be in that position.
It never goes away, because even if this somehow does get swept under that imaginary carpet I've said they've rolled out, that it just comes back in January and it's back again next summer, unless he comes out and says, I'm really sorry, you know what, I shouldn't have done this, and I want to play for Newcastle United, now I'm committing my future or whatever. There isn't a release clause, but it ain't going to happen. That's probably the least likely of any outcome here. I think the player's made his bed, and I hope it's a rough one.
Yeah, no, it's.
I hope it's a rough one. I don't have any. I don't have any sympathy for him.
That's fair, because look, as much as we're journalists, we're trying to give information that we've heard from, you guys aren't sort of privy to. This football club to us means everything.
Does
means absolutely everything to us.
I went on a rant. I left you and Charlie Bennett at Newcastle World as well. I left you an expletive-laden voice note late last night, didn't I?
just the one. It was a couple, like.
It was a couple, and it was all about, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of Newcastle United always being on the back foot, always being defensive, always being reactive. This is Newcastle United. We're not such and such, and we're not whatever, but we are Newcastle United. There is something about this place, and there's something about this people, and there's something about this football club. Why is it always got to be defence and surrender, and no, get on the attack, back the manager, never mind signing blokes who don't want to play for Newcastle United. Go and sign ones who do.
Yeah.
Go and spend the money on people who want to play for Newcastle United. Go on the attack. I was fuming, wasn't I?
No, I mean, like, it's the exact situation with us is just like, again, as we're sort of flickering between videos, we have been professional, but it's also because we feel it as fans as well. And I don't like the fact that he wants to go. I don't like the fact he wants to leave this football club, because to me this football club is everything I'd ever want.
I think you speak for a lot of people out there who feel exactly the same. As if you don't want to be here, there's the door, son. Yeah. You could say that a lot stronger, but a lot of people feel like that.
I do feel like that as well, but I think that's proper emotion. I think
it is.
And then the flip side of that is, would I want to see him go and Newcastle be left in a worse off situation? Which I argue there probably will be if he did, because he's one of the best strikers. You can't replace him. But yeah, it's the flip side of it, isn't it? Where.
But what I was saying, I can still stand here and say I think he's been a disgrace in the way that he's went on.
He has, yeah. But that's why you want him to leave. But then the wider picture is if he leaves, who you got? If you can't go and sign someone else, then from a business point of view,
don't let him go.
You don't.
But by the same token, if he suddenly had a slight change of heart and said, "Oh, I will come back and play," I'm certain every person just like me and like you who's saying exactly what we're saying, give it time, would accept him back.
Yeah, well,
everyone can make mistakes.
I've made that point as well.
Everybody can make mistakes.
I think with this situation, we've been all over the place emotionally. We've felt absolutely every single emotion ever. And it's not the end. As I say, this Liverpool stuff doesn't mean today. It doesn't mean it's the end. It'll come again.
Yeah.
But I just next week for me is absolutely crucial. It's going to be so telling as to what happens, what he does, how Newcastle United played. If he is, imagine if he's playing in a week's time in the Cellar Cup.
It's not happening.
It's probably not. But I'm just saying, from a Newcastle perspective, how do they manage this now? If they got a player that actually think, well, he might have to stay because Liverpool aren't going to come back. But I do. Yeah, what does Isak do next week? That's a big key. I think based off the evidence I've seen of him not travelling to Celtic, not travelling to Asia, He's not going to.
might
Going
not-
to Spain, he's not going to turn up.
He might
next
not
week.
turn up next week, aye?
And that's based on what he's done
Evidence?
previously. You would have to. I think him turning up would actually indicate a change of heart in itself.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Because everything he could have done wrong, and everything he could have controlled in the situation, he has, and he's gone the opposite way.
I think I think he might force it more. That would be my opinion.
As I say, I think Liverpool.
But that's
have
an
put the ball-
opinion, by the way.
Yeah, no,
And that's your opinion.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
I think Liverpool have put the ball in his court. I think Liverpool have hidden. Now, we're the respectful football club, we're backing off. You've told us not for sale, we're not going to do it. By the way, Alex, you get yourself in next week, so in Holland.
He has the contract. He has the contract will offer you.
Yeah.
It's how
These things happen, man.
Of course they do. And all this, we'll take them to court. That's not going to happen.
I would love to see Newcastle United adopt a Marinakis
approach.
It's
not going to happen.
But that's the thing. I made the point today. I would love to see Newcastle do it. There's not many clubs that do it, and essentially it is tapping up. But it's just that's the way transfers happen now. No transfer happens now where it's like, oh yeah, we want your player, agree with you, right? We'll talk to the player now.
Oh, you don't want to come, mate? All right.
exactly.
What a waste of time that was.
Exactly.
Doesn't happen.
It's about finding out if the player wants to come before you put a bid. And Liverpool have been tapping up Alexander Isak for a while, in my opinion. Who knows for how long, but I think even there's that clip resurfaced today about Virgil van Dijk and Alexander Isak. It did look like a little whisper.
So that was the other one that backed away from Virgil van Dijk. That was the one I was thinking of.
Was it?
Yeah, they backed away from him and then went back in.
Nah, but he signed on January 1st or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was like, I remember Liverpool. I remember that announcement. Yeah.
I can't remember when it was. I know they backed away from him. They did the same with Alisson. They've done it with us as well. It's a well-worn path that they're walking, so don't be surprised if they do come back. I was just thinking about this. You were talking about the emotion of it. It's a good job we're not in Korea. We're meant to be, by the way, and obviously we've explained why we're not. But it's a good job we're not, because we'd be knackered now. We're just being tears on these videos and that. Just raw emotion, like feeling.
We've shed so much emotion from home.
Like happy tears, like sad tears. It would just be a mess. Me and you'd be rolling about the floor.
Yeah.
We'd be arguing with each other about how knackered we'd be.
Probably, aye. Yeah, we do tend to have a little barneys.
Save it for the Champions League.
Aye. But no, how do you feel about the situation now? Because I mentioned about being round the houses with emotions. How do you feel now about it?
I still think the balance of probability is that he leaves. But I've kind of said that.
No, you've stuck with
all the way through.
Yeah.
I've never ruled out the fact that it's never certain he'll leave, because there's still a lot of things to sort. Like, you'd have to have a bid that would still, even if Isak forces this by not turning up next week, which is in effect a transfer request, if you want to call it that, without being formal.
Speculate, that might be the next step.
So if he did that, I mean, the nuclear one, he could come out and publicly talk. I think that's unlikely. There's lots of things that could be done to really reduce his value, which means, I don't know, he could still leave. He could, but also there might be the fact that nobody pays what Newcastle might stand firm. They might stand firm, and Newcastle might say, no, I'm not taking any money for you now. But I don't think they take that stance if they have a real indication that the player's never going to play for them again.
Yeah.
I just don't think that happens.
I still think there's a lot to happen.
Yeah, it's still we're still in the world of the unknown.
I haven't seen him for 2 weeks.
It's the player. Everyone says like, it's not. It's the clubs who hold the cards, and
they do.
I think Liverpool. I said this to you today, and people think Newcastle's got all the cards, and Liverpool.
They do in the short term, I would say, with Newcastle.
I think Liverpool's got the best hand. They don't need a striker, but they want one. So they don't have a need. Newcastle have got a real need, not only to replace Alexander Isak if he goes, but they need another one as well. So Newcastle have got a real need for a player, a need for reinforcements, which money would help with, but they don't need the money, of course. Liverpool don't need a striker. They've already signed one. They're quite happy in that position where they are. They have money to spend, and if they really want the player, all they do is just wait.
Yeah, so I would always
just wait till January. Or
I would balance up like short term, long term.
Yeah.
So I would say in the short term, Newcastle have got absolute power. Player's got 3 years left on his contract and demand a British record fee and beyond that. But in the long term, Liverpool will get the player eventually. If Alexander Isak comes back and does not sign a new contract, and even if he does, I'd imagine again. I think if he's going to sign a new contract, I think there's probably going to be a release clause in there. I don't think he signs it. I think it's the major U-turn if Alexander Isak turns up here and says, I'm going to sign a new contract, I'm going to play the rest of my years here. Because I think he's shown this week that he doesn't want that.
He's not going to do that, he doesn't want that.
And it would take an absolutely drastic U-turn for that to happen, in my opinion.
It just ain't happening.
Yeah.
The players want to have good careers. and he's only doing this because he wants to have a better career, and he doesn't really see that career ending up being here. So who we're kidding? He ain't gonna be here for much longer, whether it's this summer or next. It's unlikely to be here much longer, really. Is.
I would always say if it was up to me now, and you could guarantee a suitable replacement alongside with another striker replace Callum Wilson, I think I would roll the dice, as they say.
Yeah.
But I don't think rolling the dice might not be an option because of the lack of strikers available. So I think because what's going to happen on the pitch this season, you've got Premier League football, Champions League football, you need a player of his calibre. And look, whether you want to ask questions about will he be the same Alexander Isak, will he be the unsettled,
the washed out one at the start and the end of last season.
But I just think when you can't, when you've got a big season coming up, you can't go in without a striker. And if you can't roll the dice, then I think you're just going to have to stick with it.
Yeah, I think your feelings will be echoed by lots of people out there. We'll have a quick word from the sponsors, and then we'll have to sign off our final thoughts on the situation. So here they are.
Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking, and certified data destruction. That's Comply IT Limited. Four Rivers Financial Planning. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in.
Right, and that was your Geordie Journals. That was us talking all things Alexander Isak. I'm pretty sure we'll be jumping on here very soon to do some kind of conversation starter on the Isak situation, because like I said, as we've titled this video and as we think, this ain't coming to a close anytime soon. We don't think. Look, if it did, and he turns up here tomorrow with a brand new deal on mega money, and he's happy as Larry and says, I'll finish my career here, great. We'll walk away.
No release clause.
And like I say, that door, like I said, was at the very start of this show. That door, there you go, son, in you go. But I think there's twists and turns to be had before then.
Yeah. It's hard to think about that point because
I don't feel that.
It's all so fresh.
It's
all so fresh.
Right, like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journals content. If we don't get forced into doing a video because things take a turn, then we will be back on Sunday afternoon
after the Tottenham Hotspur game.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. None of their defeat, please, Newcastle United. Right,
so something positive, please.
Right, good night, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching this. Thanks for all your support for the Geordie Journals.